It's Midtjylland Preview on Full Time Devils. I'm Gaz outside Old Trafford. I'm with a man who is hitting midlife crisis hard. It's Howson. Howson, Louis van Gaal is still, sorry about that, mate. He's still in charge of Man United. How long do you think he's got?
I don't know. I think if he'd have lost against Shrewsbury, that might have cost him his job. But it seems like there's just so much indecision with the board at the top of the club at the moment, with Woodward, with Sir Alex, with Sir Bobby, that I don't think anybody in the club knows what's going on. I'm sure if he lost 4 or 5 games on the bounce, he'd be out the door, but I think he's here till the summer. I
think he's here till the summer, unless it becomes mathematically impossible for us to get top 4, like, very soon. You know what I mean? Like in the next few weeks, before May anyway. I think he'd be gone then. If we still got a couple more games to go, then I think they'd just hang on to him. But I think he's definitely gone in the summer. If he were to go, who would you say would go in to replace him? Because I can't imagine Mourinho would want to come in now. Would you say Giggs maybe for the last few months of the season?
I wouldn't be against Giggs doing it, especially if it happened like now, because he's got a run of games then. The criticism that we've got, which is completely valid, is that he's got no experience as a manager. You can't ask for him to be the boss on 4 games. I want the clamour for Ryan Giggs to be manager to be based on the fact that he's achieved something in the game. Now, it's still probably not enough time, but it's more time than he's had already if he came in right now. I think you're going to struggle to get anybody in apart from some sort of interim, like a Giggs or someone like that at the moment, to cover. Maybe even Warren Joyce wouldn't mind the opportunity to step in as an interim. I think Mourinho is more than likely lined up for the summer. I'm not 100% sure on the reasons behind why he could only come in the summer. Maybe there's a caveat on his severance package from Chelsea that prevents him taking a job in the same league before the summer or something like that. It could be something like that, I imagine. Maybe it's the club not wanting to pay up what Van Gaal's got. Maybe there's clauses and things like that at play. I mean, you know what this club's like for that sort of thing. So it could be a myriad of things. I just want to see the club do some due diligence in terms of who they appoint. There's tons of managers out there. We didn't appoint David Moyes on the back of an interview or any sort of presentation. Fergie went around and went, "You're the man." I'm not sure how it went with Van Gaal. I believe it went the same thing. I think it was just Woodward wanted him. I think they probably made a couple of phone calls. Woodward was one that picked up and said yes. So I would like us to say to people, to Simeone, to Mourinho, to Pochettino, to maybe any of these managers that are in consideration at the moment, we're thinking about you for the job. Not you've got the job, but we're thinking about you for the job. Come and interview for it. And then let's interview them. And it's obviously not going to be public, but I trust to an extent the decisions of the board if they interview people and you can compare people and you can ask them what their philosophy is going to be going forward, to pull up Louis van Gaal's favourite word. What's their system of youth going to be? What's their system of play going to be? Do they understand the job? Do they understand that they're going to have to deliver trophies and entertainment all at the same time? Are they happy with that? Do they understand that the crowd, unfortunately, is going to be right on your back if you're not doing it from the word go? Do they understand all this? Are they prepared for all that? What are they going to do? Where do they see the club in 5 years, 10 years? Where do they see themselves in 5 years and 10 years? And all of that needs to be taken into account, that we can't just have someone picked on instinct or told that they're getting
a bit more sensible about
that.
Yeah,
just take a longer process at it. I don't care if the guy comes from the Portuguese league or the Norwegian league, as long as he comes with credentials and he said all the right things and the board believe everything that he's saying. I'd rather that we did that than just pick flavour of the month or the biggest name.
Nice one. Right, let's go back to the match against the Danes, of course. We did lose in the first leg 2-1. It was an absolutely dreadful performance, probably the worst one of this season. That second goal that they scored was just embarrassing. Based on that, can we actually go through this game? We've got them at Old Trafford. Surely we can put a couple past them?
We can. As gutless as it was, I think what you have with smaller teams is that when you go to their ground, there's an element of them raising their game to more than they're capable of. And when you don't perform to even an average level, then it's easy to get turned over like that. And we had the opportunities to win the game, let alone draw the game. So I think you mix things up a little bit at home. Hopefully they've blown their wad a little bit in that game. I mean, we've seen how he celebrated in the changing rooms. I'd be worried about that if I was a Midtjylland fan or Midtjylland coaching staff, because you can't celebrate at half-time. That's essentially what they did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they wanted to celebrate after beating us here, that's fine.
I don't think they're necessarily that bothered about going through, to be honest. I think just beating Man United was quite an achievement at that ground.
You might be exactly right there, mate. I think that they've done everything that they're going to do, and I would expect a lot flatter performance from them here, and hopefully some sort of a reaction from Manchester United.
To be honest, I know a lot of people kind of say to me that I'm too positive at times, but I think that even if we were to run over Midtjylland here 3-4-0, we can't forget about that first leg, and that was just an absolutely dire performance. And I think that the players should definitely they can't just forget about that just because we go through. I do think we're going to go through. How far do you think we can actually get in the Europa League, though? I mean, if we come up against a good side, I know it sounds daft, but sometimes when we've come up against the lesser sides, we've had a harder game. And if we come up against a side like Dortmund or something like that, do you reckon we could give them a better game?
Amazingly, when you actually analyse it, and our worst performances have been against the worst teams, and our best performances against teams that have got a bit of a tail up. I make Napoli favourites for this at the moment. And what would be amazing is if we drew Napoli and turn them over, because we've just got that habit of doing that against the bigger teams. Not saying that we can, and I don't really have the confidence that we would, but it'd be great if we did. We can draw Liverpool and Spurs in the next round as well, and I'd be confident about going through against Liverpool, not so confident against Spurs. And it's just a lottery, isn't it? It's a cup competition, it is over 2 legs, but it's still got that lottery element of a cup. So let's just get through Thursday night. I'm not talking about winning this thing. I don't care if we win it, in all honesty. And I think it's going to be very hard for us to win it. I'd rather we got into the top 4 to secure our Champions League spot than the absolute lottery of this competition.
I completely don't care about winning it. The only reason that I have any sort of interest in the competition is because it could be our only chance to get in the Champions League. Who'd you play then on Thursday night?
Well, obviously you got Romero in net. Don't know how long.
Possibly. They said he could be back.
Well, I wouldn't expect it. You know what he's like when he's bringing back players from injury. And I think Romero's been great. He's not really had a great deal to do against Shrewsbury. But in the Midtjylland game, he was fantastic, wasn't he? I mean, he did not look like a player who'd sat on a bench for the whole season. He was fantastic.
As well, the Shrewsbury, that third goal, was it the second one? The one that started the counter-attack? That was all down to him.
Yep, true. So I think he deserves the start, whether Digay is 50-50 or not. I'd give Romero the nod in this, regardless. Varela, got to play it right back, was great again. I love how positive he is with the ball. He's always trying to force things. He gives and goes, and he's got a great cross on him as well. He puts it, nice and high into the right sort of area that's dangerous. And I think with Martial in the box, a few of them go in, and he's going to put one of them away, which is exactly what you want from your centre forward. At left back, I was banging on about him for about 2 weeks, and I made it happen. It was all down to me. I'm taking absolutely all credit for it. It's nothing to do with the lad himself or the coaching staff.
All down to you, yeah.
All down to me. So Joe Riley, I was delighted.
Football manager's gone right to your head, mate.
Obviously, I'm joking for all you muppets in the comments. Joe Riley was phenomenal when he came on. He looked, and he's been great. Actually, Joe, I'll reel that back away. It wasn't phenomenal. He had a great debut, but he's been phenomenal in the under-21s. He has got the sort of attitude, determination and grit that we just lack in the side at the moment. And I said it in a video last week that, as mad as it sounds, we've got a player in the academy who's never played for the club. He might have that grit and determination that we are lacking in the first team, because there's nobody that'll lift anyone in the first team, is there? Especially now Rooney's not there, and he's not really done it for a bit. Yeah. Nobody will go through someone, and Joe Riley will go through someone, so I want to see him play. The back two picks itself with Smalling and Blind. Just leave them as they are, they're fine. Schneidlin in midfield, but alongside him, I'm going to try and make another one happen. Let's bang the drum. Get the drums going. Bang, bang, bang on that drum. Timothy Fosu-Mensah.
He's a bit early, don't you think, for him? He's done well, but it's a bit early.
Not early at all. He is ready for it. Now, he's not going to play, right? He's not going to play. Every player that's going to get the debut is going to come and sit on the bench at least first, and then they might get a start after they've got minutes. So he's not going to play, but this is me just saying I want him to. So let's start the drum for Timothy Fosu-Mensah alongside Schneidlin, and I'll tell you why alongside Schneidlin. He's dynamic, he runs with the ball, he drags hold of the game, and he forces things to happen. He'll have a shot, he's box to box, and that's the sort of dynamism that we're just lacking in midfield. And as we're going to see with Joe Riley, if he does play the full game, and I expect him to, or at least start the game, that sort of impetus and that sort of fearlessness that you can get from a youth player is the reason why I would pick him ahead of maybe Carrick or another midfielder, and I would maybe save them for the Sunday match against Arsenal. Up front, I want to see Pereira on the right-hand side. He's absolutely deserving of a shot. And I'm not dropping Lingard. I'm just resting him for Sunday, because I do think he'll probably play on Sunday.
Can I just say about Lingard as well? A lot of people are giving him some abuse online that I've noticed, and I kind of think that's really unwarranted. Maybe he's not like a massively skillful player. Maybe he's not going to be a Man United first teamer ever. But from what I've seen, he seems like a player that should definitely be involved in our squad for the next few years. And I don't think he's done anything to deserve. I know that you said you're resting him, but to anyone who wants to drop him, I don't understand. I don't think he's done anything to deserve getting dropped, has he?
No, I think the issue with Lingard is he's a little bit lightweight. And he doesn't take hold of a game by a scruff of the neck like a world-class player would. But he's not a world-class player. But he is a squad player for Manchester United for me. And I'm happy to have that sort of player in the squad. Not everyone who comes through the academy has to be Ronaldo or George Best. Phil Neville, Nicky Butt and all those players.
Exactly what I was saying. I was looking through the 99 squad, mate, and I was seeing like some of the academy graduates that were in there that weren't necessarily first teamers. And I can see that in certain players now, and Lingard being one of them. What do you think of Memphis? Does he get a game?
Yep, Memphis is going to play on the left-hand side for me. I think he just needs to continue trying to get this confidence up, because I do think he's a confidence player. And the more he can have decent games without the fear of being dragged off for one little mistake. I mean, we saw his confidence is clearly quite resilient, because he ballooned 2 shots early doors, and then he's asking for it again. Yeah. And that's a trait that we saw in Ronaldo. Ronaldo would shoot and miss and get booed and laughed at, and he'd be like, no, give me the ball. Yeah. And that sort of mental toughness, I think, is really good. So I think if you just get the confidence into him, he was doing some good stuff with the ball last night. I worry about his lack of a left foot, but I would still definitely play him. I'm going to go for Mata in the hole, and I'm going to go for Martial up front. But I'm going to also say on the bench, there's a couple of other lads, and we're making this happen again.
I'd be happy with Fosu Mensah on the bench, mate. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not in the starting lineup just yet.
No, I don't think he's going to get on the starting lineup. I'm just saying I would really like to see it. I'd be absolutely delighted if I seen it. But there's another few lads that I think are right in contention. One's Joe Rothwell, one's Matty Willock, and the third one, Marcus Rashford, because we are completely devoid of strikers at the club. You might as well elevate him. He's another one exactly the same as Riley. Against, who did we play the other night? I think it was Reading the other night that we played. And Riley was on the left and Rashford was on the left, and they was forcing errors from the right back. The right back for Reading had an awful game, because Rashford was running at him and putting him under pressure, and Riley was running at him. And between them two, they created chances that we didn't even have the right to have the ball, but because they're just relentless, dogged determination, and we're lacking that in the first team at the moment. Everyone's too nice, too happy, and too accepting of defeat. That's what the youth players can bring to us. So, no, I'm not saying start him, but Rashford on the bench, definitely. Fosu Mensah, I'm being well optimistic to think he's going to get a start, but stranger things have happened under Louis van Gaal, especially with youth players. So that's who I'm saying. Players that we want to see: Matty Willock, Marcus Rashford, Joe Rothwell, and Timothy Fosu Mensah. They're the next lot for the debuts, I reckon.
And what do you think of the opposition then? Did anyone stand out from the first leg from Midtjylland for you?
Yes, Sisto looks dangerous, doesn't he? I mean, fair play. He's got pace, he's got confidence. He'll go into this game, I think, here. He's going to relish playing in front of Old Trafford. He didn't look short of confidence the other night. He's going to probably grow another foot or so when he gets out here and really try something, because he's going to know the eyes of the world are upon him. And you often see a player that's playing better than what the level he is at the moment. I think he's that for them. He comes to a place like this, if he can light Old Trafford up, then a big move is on the cards for him, and he's going to know that. So he's the one I would watch. The rest of them, I didn't think they was that great. Obviously, they've got that Moneyball sort of system where they're looking at players who can do stuff. I think they're beatable. I think he's the one that you got to watch, and especially we're going to have 60-70% possession at least, aren't we? And we're going to be putting it on him. He's the one we've got to watch on the counter, big time.
Score? Do you think we're going to do him?
It could be anything from 0-0 to 2-2 and 2-0, 1-0. I don't know, mate.
You've got to give me an answer.
I'm hoping for the best and expecting the worst. 1-0 United and go through lucky.
I reckon, and people are saying being too optimistic, but I reckon we're going to do him. I reckon it'll be about 4-1. But I don't think that means we should forget about that first leg, because that was absolutely dreadful, and the players still need to remember that you shouldn't perform like that. It's not Man United standard. Anyway, guys, get in your comments below. What do you think about the game against Midtjylland? Are you scared for Thursday night? It's going to be a cracking game here. Hopefully we can progress to the next round of the Europa League. Get in the comments below. Give us a like. See you in a bit.
Hi guys, Mac here at FullTimeDEVILS. This is our vlog to Denmark. We're going to see Midtjylland versus Manchester United in the Europa League in Denmark. Follow us.